back again. So this is all about, inner child acknowledgement, because a lot of our inner children are so used to being traumatized and living in stress and being mistreated that once you start to show progress and signs of improvement, then here comes that inner child trying to sabotage you or bring you back to stress, bring you back to toxic. Because to be frank, we were living in a completely different energy system previously. This where we are right now today in this realm and this universe is a completely different energy system than what most of us grew up in. So before it was, if you had a problem or you had an emotional situation going on, you hold it to yourself. It wasn't cool to be sensitive. It wasn't cool to be, aware of your emotions and things. But now it's accepted, and now it's expected even. And a lot of us are having transformational experiences. But if you've ever felt like, how come every time you start to feel good, then something comes in and you kind of crash down and you're like, man, that sucked, or that feels bad, and this, that, and the third. It's because a lot of times we are so used to, from childhood, being tormented and having stressors, that our bodies get addicted to that feeling of stress. So your body and your mind will start to try to remind you of other things to bring stress to you. So for example, you could be making so much progress on your business, so much progress on your personal life, so much project on your mental health, your physical health, your spiritual health, your financial health, whatever you're working towards. And then you have one minor inconvenience or something that might cause you to go like, wait a minute. And then suddenly you're bombarded with memories, bombarded with additional things. And then you start to over-respond to that little thing. And then it becomes sadness. I had a recent situation like that, and I had to really I had to meditate, I had to do some tapping. Perhaps I'm thinking about bringing that to this channel. Just, I'm trying to keep this organic and fluid and sustainable for myself, because I'm a busy beaver. Because if I'm not busy, then I get bored. And if I get bored, it's just not great. So I like to be busy. I like to be doing things and just keeping myself productive. That's what I want to say. I like to stay productive. Because if I don't, honestly, I feel bad about myself. If I'm not productive, then I feel bad about myself. It just is what it is. So I like to feel good about myself, and I feel really good about myself when I'm achieving things that I like to do, and when I'm doing what I want to do. So there's that. And there ain't no shame in that. It is what it is. But at the same time, sometimes there'll be a little girl in my head that, you didn't do this, and and last time this thing happened, it went this way, and then that, and then that, and then it tries to get me to a space of feeling not great. And so when you can recognize it, and I've seen it in other people too, it's not just me. I think it's just a thing, and a product of being born before the 2000s, perhaps. I don't know, or just existing on this plane of Earth, period. But the point is that we don't have to stay there. And so once we can recognize that, okay, wait a minute, there's something happening here. And also, these might not be my feelings, because a lot of things also, we are receivers and we are transmitters. So that means we are receiving energy, we are receiving vibrations, and we are also omitting and putting them out there. So sometimes also, it just takes recognizing whose energy is this, because people will send, because some people are more evolved than we think. You don't really know people you don't really know what they're into. You don't really know. And I prove that because there was this one time, I'm not going to say this person's name, but there was this one time there was interesting activity in the sky. And I was with who I thought was a devout Christian who only prayed to Jesus and Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. And then we were outside, and there was unexplainable activity going on in the sky. And I'm thinking, it must be aliens or something, And this person that has always only discussed publicly believing in one God goes, the first thing this guy says, it's the gods with an S. I was like, what? And he said it again. It's the gods. The gods. I'm like, the gods? What are you saying? What? I thought you were Jesus, dude. Like, what are you talking about? The gods with an S. And so, and there were some other situations that happened, but that I'll never forget, because it just showed me, like, you really don't know who's who. So you might be around people who are like deep in the occult, or deep in Satanism, or deep in some gangster. You don't know. So, but from that, I brought that up because that person sends me energy, and I send it right back to sender. And you'll notice if it's someone else's energy, because it'll come in like a wave, and it'll feel almost like a cloud that just like covers you. And you, like, I was washing dishes and I'm feeling great. I'm like chilling, da, da, da. And then all of a sudden I get this like wave of sadness about this person. Like, oh, I kind of miss that person. And then I said, like that Janet Jackson song, what about the times you lied to me? What about the times no one would want me? What about all you done to me? What about that? What about that? Because I was like, wait a minute. And then I realized, like, wait a minute, that's not my energy. I don't feel that way. I'm perfectly content never speaking to this person again. That's not me. And then I realized, wait a minute, that's not my energy. And then it was gone. But if I had not had that awareness, I might have owned that feeling and just assumed that if I'm feeling it, then that means that it came from me, that I actually am feeling it. But I was not. I don't feel that way. I don't feel that way. That person might feel that way, but I don't. And what I also think happens is that, you know, and it seems to be happening more and more and more as I evolve and as you evolve, like if I think something, someone will respond to it. So I believe that if people think about me, then I get a feeling about them. And also, I do know that people can send you energy. And after seeing how that person's whole religious dogma that they preach was a lie, I can only imagine what else they've lied about. So there's that. And part of addressing that inner child is recognizing who people are, not who you wish they were, and getting out of that fantasy world that, you know, because this person has a familial relationship to me, that means that they are going to treat me this kind of way. Because this person was supposed to protect me means that they're actually going to do it. Because that person, according to societal norms, this person is a parent of mine, so they're supposed to treat me as the parents are supposed to treat children. Because this person is a sibling of mine, they're supposed to treat me as someone who's a sibling. Because this person is an uncle, aunt, grandpa, whoever. And though, in reality, most of those people are the ones who are hurting you or have hurt. So part of addressing that inner child is also recognizing that a lot of the stuff that we tried to ignore and act like didn't happen, these people intentionally did that stuff. These people knew what they were doing and did it anyway. So we have to address the inner child within us and recognize that a lot of times these people do know what they're doing, and it's challenging and it's very hard at first and even later on to recognize that sometimes what people do, they did it on purpose. They knew exactly what they were doing, and they purposely tried to demean your confidence. They purposely tried to attack you. They purposely did the things that they did to you. It wasn't an accident. They did it on purpose. And so recognizing that, and then taking off what you think they should do and what you wish they would have done, and just accepting that this is just who that person is, period. It's not a reflection of you. It's not a reflection of me. It's a reflection of them and who they are, and that's fine. And being able to acknowledge that, however painful it is, to acknowledge the fact that someone you loved and someone you trusted actively sought out to hurt you is a hard thing. It's a hard pill to swallow. But it doesn't mean that it's not a necessary pill to swallow, and it doesn't make it any less true. And once we can get past the initial hurt and, you know, oh my gosh, this person actually did this on purpose, then we can start to heal, all right? But you have to know where your inner child hurt comes from so that you can evolve past it and you can heal from it. But if you don't even acknowledge that it exists, it will try to control you. And on top of that, if you think that every single thing you feel is your feeling, you won't even be able to make it leave. Because a lot of times people are sending energy towards us, and sometimes they're not doing it on purpose. But remember, like, you don't know what people do when you're not around. Just because you don't think, like, I never ever would have previously thought that that person believed in more than one God. According to, oh, they're always in church, always telling me how I need to go to church, because I don't go to church. I don't practice traditional religion. I believe that there's truth in all things, but I don't go to church, and everybody knows that. I've been to church, and it's not like I'm not against going to church. I love a good motivational speech. I love a good closer to God moment, but I don't go to church because I don't believe that people, because there are a lot of hypocrites in church, like this person who's always talking about Jesus, always talking about God, but then believes in multiple gods. Because here's the thing, and that's why I've been saying you really don't know. Because how come the first thing, it wasn't, I'm over here talking about, oh, it must be aliens or something. I'm thinking it's aliens. The first thing this person says is the gods with an S. That means that subconsciously, that's the first thing you thought of. As he's like panicking, that's the first thing you thought of. So what else have you lied about? And you have to be aware enough and discerning enough and trusting enough within yourself to recognize, no, that happened. So inner child healing is a must. And a lot of people that try to tell you how weird you were or how off you were and this, that, and the third, and try to conform you to cause you to be more like them, those are the people that feel guilty about what they did to you. So don't give in to their nonsense, and control that inner child, nurture that inner child, heal that inner child. When you start to feel that self-sabotage coming from that child who's trying to get you prepared for the pain that typically came because of after you start to feel so good, something negative would happen. When that inner child tries to come and prepare you for that, say, hey, I know what you're trying to do. I know you're trying to help. And I love you for that. And though this is a new time, and in order to be what we've never been before, we have to do what we've never done before. And it's time that we start to trust in ourselves, because we're not that child anymore. We're not powerless. We're not beholden to those who ever hurt or tormented or whatever you. You're not that person's prisoner. And you can choose today, and we choose today to heal past that. And it's going to take years of evolvement, because it took years to get you to where you are today. So it's not going to take one YouTube video and an affirmation to change that. And though, with enough time and enough healing and enough work, you will heal that. And when that inner child does start to come, they'll come less and less and less. And when it does come, it won't stop you. You'll be able to push through anyway and recognize you are not powerless. You are not that child anymore. You are not that child who has to watch and do nothing and be scared. You can do something now. So be that. See you next time.